Redditors who are married to someone with an identical twin, what are your feelings towards that twin? My boyfriend's twin is like a brother to me. It's nice to be able to talk to him when I'm concerned about since he knows how he thinks. When his twin says I have nothing to worry about, I know there isn't. I'm an identical twin, and the day me and my husband are getting married, my mother says to me, "Hey, did you know in high school that husband really had the hots for my twin sister?" Weird, huh? Apparently, he had told my mother this in confidence when he went and bought my wedding present, and she felt the need to tell me this on my wedding day. I bring it up constantly now, because it crushed me on my wedding day, and now I find it hilarious. What a horrible thing to say to you on your wedding day. Yeah, because I was an absolute wreck of emotion, and completely irrational. I nearly called off the wedding hours before. I didn't, thankfully, and we celebrated our 1-year wedding anniversary this month. I'm married to an identical twin. I always say I married the hot one. There are more personality differences than you'd think. I hope you're not my wife's twin's husband, because I married the hot one. I married an identical twin. They have a very similar personality, so I get along with my wife's twin very well. When her twin comes to visit, they will exchange clothes sometimes. I saw my wife come out and go back to the room. Then saw my wife's twin come out with a different outfit. Thought it was my wife. She went back in another time and changed shirts again. I was getting annoyed because I figured it was my wife changing for the third time. Nope, just the twin trying onto shirts. When we got married, my mom was helping my wife put together her bouquet of flowers. She had to get her makeout done, so she left the room and my wife's twin stepped in without missing a beat. My mom went on to have a 20-minute heart-to-heart with who she thought was her future daughter-in-law. I finally overheard something and told my mom it was her twin. Poor mom. Just mark your wife's hand with a Sharpie. Where's my girl? Is she in the fridge? Married to an identical twin. It's funny, I met my husband on Tinder, and both him and his twin had profiles. I often think, what if I would have swiped right on his twin first? It most definitely wouldn't have worked. Not because I dislike my husband's twin, but because our personalities simply don't click that way. Regardless, I have a very close relationship with my husband's twin. I think of him as my protector, and I hope he thinks the same of me. When he moved to our town for a job, he actually lived with us for 6 MOs. Despite the fact that my husband and I were newly married, I look back on that time very fondly. We grew really close. I feel very lucky to have such a great relationship with him. My dad is an identical twin, so I have an uncle dad. That's weird to type and say out loud. My grandfather, who lived in a different state, was an identical twin. I met his brother for the first time at my grandfather's funeral. He looked and sounded just like my grandpa. It was pretty difficult to process in that moment. Missed opportunity to dress like a phantom and haunt his brother's funeral. All I can say is that I'm definitely married to the nice one. Married to an identical twin going on 8 years. When I first found out, I thought it would be wacky and entertaining like a movie, but it sucks ass. Her twin is a psycho and one of the worst people I've ever met. She wants to be the alpha twin. They are so competitive about everything. I'm not identical, but I'm a triplet where my brother and I look very similar. All of my brother's ex-GFs bond with me afterwards, even if we didn't like each other before. I think it's because we both know that my brother's a complete asshole. Step 1. Have a more attractive twin. Step 2. Manipulate him to grow up as a confident asshole. Step 3. Set him up with girls out of your league. Step 4. Gaslight his relationship. Step 5. Popcorn. Step 6. Bond with his exes. No comment. Delightfully devilish Seema. I'm an identical twin. My twin is dead. Wife has no feelings as far as I can tell. I'm an identical twin. My twin is dead. Same here. Sorry for your loss. Same and same. I dated a twin. Her sister's boyfriend had the same car as me. Sounds like a lie, so that you could bone both of them, lol. Wow. What are the odds you both have RDY2 bond for you license plate? That's so funny. My sister-in-law's ex-husband is a twin. He left her, and it took her a long time to move on because she would keep hanging out with the twin and his wife. Twin is my wife's evil copy. Wouldn't touch that mess if my life depended on it. She sounds hot though. You can go up to her and tell her, I know what you look like naked. Not much of anything. He's my brother-in-law. And honestly, they look less alike than some fraternal twins I know. They have very different personalities. And his brother is totally not my type. That didn't stop me from asking some curious questions though. 1. If we were to find my husband was infertile, would he agree to using his brother as a donor? Not in the I'd have sex with him way because I mean, it's literally the exact same DNA. Hubby said definitely no. 2. If we have kids, and he has kids, they're cousins. But are they also technically half siblings? Since they're half identical DNA / half other mothers? Hubby called me weird. I think these are legitimate questions. Well, never thought of the half sibling thing. I'm married to one of inseparable identical twins. My wife and her sister are two peas in a pod and extremely dependent on each other. I knew when I married one I was marrying half of the other one too. But I love my wife so much, including her sister in the picture too. My wife's sister is always at our place as much as my wife is at her sister's place. We do have a good dynamic, understanding about the relationships, and we have no boundaries broken. So did you have a threesome? Or are you just still hoping for it? I first read Op's entire response thinking that inseparable meant that they were conjoined twins. And I was like, duh, how could they not have a threesome? Hang a sheet between, and have her sister put on earbuds and watch Netflix on her phone for a bit. Forget stuck in the window porn. I'm investing in this. Way late to the party, but I know a woman whose husband cheated on her with her identical twin, then got her twin pregnant, divorced her and married her twin. I guess you could say he liked her better. Thanksgivings just don't happen anymore. These are the kind of stories we came here for. I'm one of triplets. 2 girls and a boy. My sister and I are identical, but our brother doesn't look anything like us. Most people don't believe us when we tell them who our brother is. We are not married, but my boyfriend also has a twin brother. They look a lot alike, but it was easy telling them apart early on. My boyfriend is more social and relaxed with people, while his brother is more introverted and sometimes even socially awkward. Because I myself have a twin, it's not weird to me, so I treat his brother the same way, as if they weren't twins. Yes, hello. You've summoned me. Satan, I mean, me, your twin sister. Reply to some of these people's comments about being twins and stuff. I see you're the bossy twin / triplet. My husband is an identical twin. It / weird. Because sometimes, especially when walking around or doing something, I really have to watch out not to mix them up. Then, when sitting down, or whenever it is absolutely clear who is who, I find the twin looks nothing like my husband, and I find him kind of unattractive. I went to school with 3 sets of identical twins. After getting to know them, you notice the small differences. People got freaked out that I could easily tell the difference between them. Same. All the teachers got some girl twins mixed up in my school, but it is really easy to tell them apart. I'm an identical twin and all my brother's ex-GFs always distanced themselves from me, even if we were friends prior to them dating. But his current GF and I are very close. I really hope they get married. They have my seal of approval. Why do you think that was? Not quite what you were asking, but I dated a twin in high school. We were both very reserved, quiet people. His twin brother was much more outgoing, and happened to have a girlfriend that looked a lot like me, same hair color and build. At least, they would make out everywhere with absolutely no shame. One day my boyfriend and I got pulled into the principal's office to talk about our inappropriate behavior at school. It was humiliating when we're finally able to stammer through our explanation that no, you've got the wrong couple. The principal was very kind about it, and we had a good laugh, but I'm sure I was tomato red for the whole conversation. That sounds like a good side plot to a teen movie. It's basically the plot for at least 2 Shakespeare plays. I'm a twin, but despite being identical we don't really look alike. I had some birth defects that stunted my growth, and she's 6 inches taller. My husband was friends with my sister before we started dating. They met while doing a play together, and we didn't meet until a few months later. They actually played a couple and had kissing scenes. So he's one of probably few people who can say he's kissed twins. While he thinks my sister looks nice and she is objectively pretty, he's never been attracted to her. Holy shit, I think you're my boyfriend's female counterpart. He's also got an identical twin who's 6 inches taller thanks to birth defects stunting his growth. and I also kissed his twin in a non-romantic context before we started dating. Now shake hands. My husband was born with a mostly absorbed identical twin. The doctors removed it and all he has is a tiny scar. But I shit you not, he has two personalities. Sometimes I think that half of his brain is one twin, and the other half is the other. He also refers to himself as we a lot without much thought. Have an upvote for some Stephen King shit. Okay, story time. I met a guy on a dating app. We'll call him T. We talked for a bit, and then met up at a bar for a few drinks. As far as dates go, it was pretty awkward. T was pretty cute, but he was a bit of a disaster. At one point he mentioned he had a brother who he thought I'd get along with pretty well, and I, jokingly, asked him for his brother's number. I mean, the date was going terribly. What did I have to lose? He didn't give me the number. The date ended. We went our separate ways. Then, months later, I meet another guy through the same dating app. We start talking. Come to find out, he is T's brother. Not just any brother. He is his identical twin. We hit it off. His personality is basically the opposite of T's. We are still together today. Life is weird. Plot twist. What if T never really had a twin, but pretended to be his brother, and switched personalities to get a second chance with you? Oof. But, family gatherings would make it clear that they were twins, lol. It's been done before. Just create excuses to leave the room and switch characters. I dated twin brothers in 6th grade. One asked me out one day, and then the other asked me out later that week. I didn't realize what a boyfriend was then. I also didn't realize you can't have two at the same time, even if they are twins. They were both arrested for hate crimes as adults. I guess I dodged 2 bullets. I'm married to an identical twin. They are very dependent of each other, but fight like you won't believe. I have tons of funny stories, because I lived with both of them for a little while. When they get angry, they kinda black out, and call each other nasty stuff that makes no sense. For example, they will call each other ugly cows. They are 100% identical. Also, they both sleepwalk a lot, like every night. I woke up once to my wife, then girlfriend, putting her rollerblades on at night, while her sister was walking around the apartment with a stove atop like a tray and a wooden spoon. She was dreaming of being a waitress, I guess. I just went back to bed. Also, you know that scene in Paranormal Activity, where the wife stands by the bed staring at her husband for hours? Yep, that's just a Tuesday for me. As for my feelings toward her twin, she's like a sister only, nothing more. OMG, I couldn't handle that happening while I sleep. And I have a bunch of funny sleepwalking stories. My wife and her sister are really intense. Do tell. My sister-in-law is married to an identical twin. The only noticeable difference between the two is the twin stands up straighter. From what I understand, she is incredibly attracted to the twin, obviously, right, and doesn't allow herself to be drunk around him. It causes me anxiety to think about that. Story time. So, her husband, the twin, and his wife all went to a water park. Everybody in their swimming suits, and on a tube river ride. Her husband on her right, and twin on the left in the tube. At one point they went through a dark tunnel and the tube bounced off the wall, causing the twin's back to shove against my sill. She put up her hands to brace him and herself, and for the first time, as she put it, felt the back of her husband on somebody she knew not to be her husband. It was pitch black. She knew it wasn't her husband, but had all the same physical attraction to him that she had for her husband. She freaked out hard. Later she told my wife that she was really confused about the whole thing and ever since then has been really shy around the twin and avoids any physical contact. This may be the exact story this thread was made for. Certainly blew my load. Not married, but my girlfriend has an identical twin, and she is her complete polar opposite and a giant cunt. I always tell her it's easy to know which of them is the evil twin. Ursula. I love my husband's twin, like he's my brother too. He even calls me C's. They look so different that I haven't had any conflicting feelings, and would never mistake them unless their backs were turned to me. My husband wears his hair a little longer, and is clean shaven, and is typically dressed for the office. His brother keeps his hair buzzed short and wears a long beard, and dresses to work outside. They sound like the Property Brothers. Not married, but I'm in a long-term relationship with an identical twin, and as far as I know, I'm the only person who has kissed both of them. I actually was friends with both twins for years before I started dating one of them. I met my current BF first, and had a huge crush on him. but he was very reserved and hard to get close to. When I met his twin, I had a small crush on him, just because he reminded me of my crush, but was more outgoing and easier to befriend. His twin is super flirty too, and ended up kissing me while I was working at a kissing booth at a weird Valentine's Day party. That ended up being slightly awkward when my BF and I finally got together after 4 years of friendship, but he knows about it and doesn't really care. And now that I've got the real thing, I don't have any attraction to his brother and just see him as a good friend. Sure, he's got the same facial structure and mannerisms as my boyfriend, but they have very different styles. The twin is a cool guy and cute enough, but my boyfriend has been through hardships that his twin has not, and he's developed a unique depth of character and humility from his experiences that makes him a very sexy, magnetic person. Are you a character in a shitty teen drama? 'Cause damn. I started dating a twin. When my roommate met her, he joked she's hot. Does she have a twin? So I introduced them, and they started dating. My roommate and my wife's twin got married 2 years before my wife and I got married. So now at family gatherings, it's me and my old roommate hanging out with our twin wives. It's weird but really great. Semicolon. And then to make it especially crazy, the two of them had children a couple years ago. They had twins that were born on the birthday of our wives. Semicolon. That's too much. Man. What is this? A crossover episode?